Hey everyone, I'm Vinox, and today I will be going over how I make my Singing Monsters covers. Whether you're new to making covers, new to making music, or just new to my channel, welcome, and I assure you that you will learn at least one thing in this video. But before we go into that, I should preface something. This video is not for you to just copy exactly what I do. You don't learn anything that way, and it would just make for an absolutely horrible video. I will simply tell you tips and tricks on how to make a cover. So without further ado, let's go. So the first thing you want to do is pick a genre or a general vibe for your cover. Now obviously you can recreate the original song exactly how it sounds in game, but choosing a genre is what really makes your cover special. You could turn a lullaby calm island like Light Island into a rock song, or make a fast-paced one like Space Island sound more ambient and relaxing. Now I wouldn't recommend doing something like turning a lullaby song like Light Island into a rock song, but you could do it. Now obviously, when you pick a genre, you need to think about what emotion you want your listener to feel. Now this is important because that will help you choose what instruments would fit that mood. The instruments that fit the genre, just what instruments will help you convey the emotion that you want to bring out of this cover. And lastly, you need to interpret the vocal monsters through that style as well. For example, in Jake the Jake's Plasma Islet cover, the cover starts out very lo-fi, but then it transforms into this heavy metal rock song, I guess, during the Nebula verse. And Nebula becomes, well, unhinged. Even just changing the genre gives the cover its own identity of sorts, and it's one of the easiest ways to make your video stand out from others doing just the same island as you. Once you've chosen your genre, the next step is instrumentation. Basically, what instruments or sounds are you going to use in this cover to fit the genre that you've picked? This is by far one of my favorite parts. Some of the sounds in My Singing Monsters are just so creative, so you can be creative yourself about what you want to change them into. Now you may be asking, what do you mean change them into? Well basically, going back to Jake's Plasma Islet cover, he changes the instruments of Yurik, Blair, and all the other monsters in Nebula's verse to fit the genre of a heavy metal rock song. For example, obviously, there's a bunch of electric guitars, heavy drums, and again, Nebula. Yeah, basically, when you make a cover, think of it as making your own My Singing Monsters island. Basically, choosing instruments and elements that complement each other to fit the genre that you have picked. Now obviously, don't go too overboard, because you don't want to just go all out with instrumentation. You should limit yourself a bit. But here are a few tips to help with instrumentation. Basically, you shouldn't be using too many instruments at once that play a bunch of different melodies and such. Mech Islet did a horrible job at this because in what I'm gonna call the chorus, there are so many different elements and instruments that are playing at once. It just feels very muddy, messy, and there's just a lot going on. However, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't be layering instruments. What I mean by layering, well basically layering similar sounds helps them to feel fuller, basically combining a synth or a piano for a richer tone. I did this with my Mech Islet cover, and it just sounds so full. The chorus sounds so clean and put together. And remember, it's okay to replace some monster sounds entirely if it fits your genre better. You don't have to like copy every single note one for one. You can change the melodies of some monsters, like how DDOMSM did this with his mech islet cover of Yurik at the beginning. Now, let's talk about creativity. This part is what makes your cover yours. Once you've got your basic song figured out, this is where you can start experimenting and testing with new sounds or new ideas or just new anything. Here are a few ways to make your cover pop. The first thing you can do is change the rhythm. Now, there's only really one rhythm that I would recommend changing to for an MSM cover, because most of them are in a 4/4 time signature. If you don't know what that is, just look it up. I don't want to explain it right now, but basically, you should only be changing your MSM cover to swing time. That's what I recommend at least. It's definitely, it's a pretty hard time to change to, but trust me, it'll sound so much better. Here's an example. Another thing you can do is add harmonies or counter melodies to already existing monsters. I basically like, maybe you should give a monster a little harmony underneath their main part, or have another monster like echo them, I guess. Jake does this in his Fire Oasis cover, and I do this in my Paranormal Carnival cover. And the last thing you should do is add transitions. All the My Singing Monsters songs are stuck to a track-based system, where basically they have to have like specific tracks that can be copied and pasted so that it doesn't make the song too complicated. And because of this, they can't really add transitions because, let me just show you what I mean. So I've just created two very simple example tracks here, and as you can see, track 1 has this transition, while track 2 does not. And if track 1 plays like at the same time, then like multiple times over and over, then this happens. So this plays and the transition plays, and then track 2 plays, and track 1 plays again, but the transition goes to nowhere, and then the transition goes to nowhere again. Yeah. Now obviously, creativity is where your brain, your input comes through the most. There's not really a strict formula you should follow. It's just basically taking what the original song gives you and twisting it into your own creation, something of your own. Now let's get into general tips and tricks. The past few were like very specific to one part of music making, but these will be general tips. Here are a few things that you should be doing. You should be keeping volume levels very balanced. Now, like, what do I mean by that? Basically, like, unless a monster has like some sort of solo, I guess, you don't really want one monster overpowering everyone else. Basically, think of it as like a choir. You want, unless there's a solo, you want all of the voices to be at the same volume level, or at least similar, so that everything flows cohesively and it's just nice. Another thing you should be doing is you should listen to the original song every now and then. It'll help you stay connected to the rhythm and the feel of the original song, even if your genre is like completely different to the original song. It can also help you come up with new ideas for melodies or instrumentation or just whatever. Even just humming melodies like off the spot while listening to the original island can give you like a boost in creativity for what you want to do. Now another thing you want to be doing is experiment with effects. Obviously you don't want to overdo it, because that's just, you don't want to obviously overdo it, but one effect that you should absolutely be using is panning. Panning especially is one of the best effects to use when making a cover, because panning in game is positional. Basically, like, depending on where you place a monster on the island is where the monster sound will go. Like if I placed a monster on the left of the island, I would hear it a bit more in my left ear. And one last thing you should be doing is you should save your project often. I have lost so much progress just due to FL Studio crashing, and it's so annoying and I hate it. Now here's a few things that you shouldn't be doing. One thing you shouldn't be doing is copy another creator's entire arrangement. I personally, guilty as charged, I did this a lot with my earlier covers on how they're inspired by Jake the Drake, but that's obviously like not a good thing to do. You want your cover to be yours. Don't copy exactly other people's things. And another thing you should do is don't overdo effects. Obviously I said earlier effects are good, but you obviously shouldn't add too much, like for example reverb to something, because if you do, this happens. 3, 2, 1. And one thing you shouldn't do is you shouldn't stress about your cover being perfect. Sometimes the best covers are like the imperfect ones, because they feel more natural and human, and they appeal more to the human ear, and that's good. And at the end of the day, when you make a My Singing Monsters cover, just have fun with it. Don't treat it like an assignment or a piece of homework. Treat it like a hobby. Try weird things with your cover, experiment with new possibilities or melodies, and don't feel pressured to make it perfect. Even if your first few covers aren't perfect, that's okay. Everyone starts somewhere. But each cover teaches you something new about music, which you can then incorporate into your future covers. And that's pretty much it. That's how I make My Singing Monsters covers. I hope this video helps you understand the process a bit better, and maybe inspires you to make a cover of your own. If it did, consider leaving a like, and if you want to see more My Singing Monsters related content, covers, tutorials, and all that, don't forget to subscribe. I'm so close to 2,000 subscribers as of writing the script, so if you enjoy this, make sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!